Hi, I'm Aria from Atlanta, and before I tell you a story you'll never forget, please like and subscribe. I lived in a mansion with my single mom, who ran a successful makeup chain. Mom was really particular and a total neat freak, but I was her total opposite, an absolute mess.
Aria, fix your hair. You look like a troll, and wipe that mud off your face.
Since Mom started a career as a supermodel, she wanted me to follow in her footsteps. So when I turned 11, she got me into a huge fashion show. But I took one step on the runway and fell on my butt. Sorry, Mom tried her best to tame me, but I showed no sign of improvement. It was just the way I was. The only person who accepted that was my bestie, Annie. Her mom worked for us, and sometimes Annie would tag along to help her mom out. Not only was Annie super funny and a great cook, she was a low-key genius and would help me study all the time. Why am I not getting this? Am I stupid?
No, you're not. You're just looking at it the wrong way.
She was the reason I didn't fail my middle school, and everyone adored her, especially Mom. She often said that Annie was beautiful and reminded her of herself when she was younger. Mom liked Annie so much that she even invited her to join us on a trip to France. We were having so much fun till this woman walked up to us and said to Mom,
"Oh, wow. Your daughter is so beautiful. Like a fresh daisy."
"Excuse me, I'm her daughter."
Really? Well, I'm sure you have an amazing personality."
I wanted to kick that woman's French butt. It's not that I didn't like her complimenting Annie, but it made me jealous that Mom didn't even correct. And after that day, I just didn't like it when Mom paid Annie any attention. One afternoon, I came home from tennis practice and found Annie and Mom raiding my closet. What's going on?
I'm giving Annie some of your old clothes. Doesn't she look fabulous?
The way they were laughing and prancing around without me, it made my blood boil. I snatched a skirt out of Annie's hand, then started shouting at Mom. "That's my stuff. You can't just give it away."
I'm so sorry, I'll leave. You can be so selfish. Annie and her mother are dirt poor. She could use these clothes. You were never going to wear them again anyway.
I don't care. Next time, ask me before you give my things away like that. I ran to my room and shut the door. But after a while, I realized that Mom was right. I was being selfish, so I packed a few boxes full of clothes that I knew Annie would like and went to her house. I'm really sorry about the way I acted. Here, you can have them all and more. Will you forgive me?
Of course I forgive you. You're my best friend, silly.
Over the years, Annie and I grew closer, and I even convinced Mom to pay Annie's tuition so we could go to the same school. On her first day, I introduced Annie to my friends, but they just laughed in her face.
Oh my God, who did her hair? A blind woman?
Ooh, look at that skirt. It stinks. At least it's better than your stinky mouth. Now, if you don't mind, we have a class to get to.
You didn't have to do that. They're your friends.
Yeah, but you're my best friend. There's a difference, and it's called having each other's back, even though Annie had a trashy first day. Over time, her sunny personality won over all my friends. Not to mention, she was great at everything. Annie tried for the cheer squad, and they made her captain. She baked cookies for the whole class one time, and the kids couldn't stop praising her. She was voted most beautiful, most likely to succeed, and had the highest grades in school. Annie even ran for class president and won by a landslide.
I've never met a girl like Annie before. She's the best. Can you ask her to come to my slumber party?
Why? Isn't that only for close friends?
Yeah, and she's one of us now. You should be happy.
Only I wasn't. I loved Annie, but I couldn't help feeling jealous of how perfect she was. And then one day, while I was having milkshakes with her at the mall, someone spooked me half to death.
Hey, Aria Banana, it was Owen.
He was the son of one of Mom's investors and my childhood crush. Are you trying to give me a heart attack? And look at that! You ruined my shirt.
Oh, let me fix that for you.
Annie quickly grabbed a can of club soda and dabbed at the stain. Within seconds, my shirt was all clean.
Wow, that was brilliant. I'm Owen.
She's Annie, and we're late.
Hey, wait, if you guys are free this weekend, would you want to come for a science exhibition?
Science on a Saturday? How boring. I'd rather stick a needle in my eye. You're such a nerd, Owen.
I'd love to come, great.
I'll text you the address.
As Annie and Owen exchanged numbers, I just stood there in shock. Owen had never been this friendly to me, and I'd known him for years. I'd even asked him out once, but he said I was too young, and he just wanted to be friends. But that weekend, after Annie came back from the exhibition, she told me that Owen had asked her out. What? That's not possible. He never dates girls younger than him. What did you do?
Nothing. We just have a lot in common and talked about science stuff.
I was so shocked at what Annie told me that I couldn't stop myself from running over to Owen's house. You said you don't date girls my age. Annie is 3 months younger than me.
I know I said that, but honestly, I was just politely rejecting you. We have nothing in common, and with Annie, I feel complete. She's special, and I think I'm in love.
You met her yesterday, you idiot. I wanted to punch Owen in the face, but I settled for kicking dirt and walking back home. It took me a while, but I somehow made peace with Owen and Annie dating. But slowly, Annie and I started drifting apart. She had no time for me and was always busy hanging out with Owen. You want to hang out tonight?
I can't. I have a date with Owen.
What about tomorrow?
Cheerleading practice. Maybe we can squeeze something in next week.
And the next week, she made another excuse, and I was left alone again. I turned to my friends for comfort, but they didn't want to hang out either. Not without Annie. I was furious at how quickly Annie had taken over my entire life. My friends, the boy I liked, everything. I was so mad I could scream. So I did. At my driver for driving too slow, at the gardener for cutting the grass too short. I even shouted at the teacher in class. Who the heck cares about an isosceles triangle? It's just a stupid triangle. I went straight to detention after that. I took a seat at the back when this girl spoke to me.
You're Annie's bestie, right?
I have a name. It's Aria.
Oh. Whoa, snappy. I was just saying that your best friend sucks. I hate her.
This girl was the first person I'd met who hated Annie, ever since she joined the school. We got talking, and soon I started hanging out with a new crowd. They liked to ditch school, cheat on tests, and sneak out late on school nights. But the best thing about them was that none of them was in love with Annie. After a long time, I was finally having a little bit of fun. But, as always, Annie had to poop on my parade.
You missed class. We had a really big quiz.
I don't care.
Well, you should, because you'll fail your classes if you don't show up for the test.
Why are you acting like you care? You've been ignoring me for the longest time now, so ignore a little more and stay away.
I'm sorry, I haven't been around much. Maybe we can hang out tomorrow. Owen and I are going to the museum. Maybe you could join us.
Maybe you shouldn't be such a big nerd and mind your own business. Annie didn't bother me after that, and I didn't mind either. I had a new set of friends, and I was happy. Then a week later, the school announced the annual parent-teacher meeting, and it was a disaster. My grades were at an all-time low, and Mom was furious. But I wasn't the only one suffering. Everyone had low grades in my group, and some of them were even failing.
I hate those stupid teachers. They think they can rule our lives with their dumb homework and grades.
My dad grounded me for a month for failing a boring class. He took away my Mercedes. What am I supposed to do? Walk everywhere?
Yeah, teachers suck.
I wish we could teach them a lesson.
Maybe we could.
How?
We can ruin their stupid teacher's lounge. We snuck into the school late the next evening, and we trashed the teacher's lounge. We spray painted the walls, poked the microwave and the TV, and we stuffed fish into the vents. We rushed out of there and ran straight into Annie.
Aria, what are you doing?
I could ask you the same thing.
I was studying at the library. What?
Just then, we spotted Mr. Stilson, the janitor, and I rushed past Annie without saying a word. And the next morning, I was sweating bricks when my friends approached me.
What are you gonna do about Annie?
What do you mean?
The principal is investigating the matter of the teacher's lounge. And if she says anything, we're dead meat.
She won't say anything. She loves me too much.
Okay, yeah. That explains why she went behind your back and stole the guy you liked.
I didn't want to think about it, but my friend was right. We could get expelled, and someone had to take the fall. So I made a decision. And later that day, I walked up to the principal's office. But to my surprise, Annie, my new friends, and the janitor, Mr. Silson, were all there.
Mr. Stilson just told me how he saw you and your friends in the hallway after the teacher's lounge was vandalized.
I don't know what Mr. Silson said to you, but my friends and I were there to study. In fact, I saw Annie come out of the teacher's lounge.
What?
She was the one who vandalized the teacher's lounge. I even saw her putting some of the paint cans in her locker. You can check if you don't believe me. The principal checked Annie's locker and found 2 cans of spray paint that I'd hidden there. Annie was expelled immediately. And after that day, she just never came to my place with her mom. I didn't expect her to. What I'd done was horrible. A few days later, I finally built up enough courage to apologize.
How could you do this to me?
I'm sorry, but I had no choice. I would have been expelled. It would have gone on my permanent record. I couldn't let that happen. I am supposed to take over my mom's company one day.
But I lost everything.
Not really. You didn't have much to begin with. And honestly, you weren't even supposed to be at that school. You land on your feet. You don't need a college degree to be a maid. Annie slapped me, then slammed the door in my face. The next morning, her mother quit, and they left. I tried to reach out to Annie, but she ignored my calls. Couldn't blame her. I hated myself for the things I'd said. Things weren't the same after Annie left. My new friends ditched me soon, and all the other kids resented me for getting Annie kicked out of school. When I went off to college, I tried to make new friends. But they were either really shallow or just wanted to use me for my money. I felt so lonely, so I focused all of my attention on my job at my mom's company. But on the day of my mom's retirement party, she called me into her office.
I've decided not to name you CEO of my company.
What? But I've been working so hard. You promised that I would take over once you retired.
I did. And I appreciate your hard work too. But this business is all about making relationships, and you're not good at that.
I'm not? You have to give me a chance.
Honey, there are no second chances in business, and you're really not cut out for it.
And now she was telling me that after all the time I wasted in making Mom happy. I felt betrayed and lost. Now I know how it feels when someone you trust stabs you in the back. This is exactly what I did to Annie. And if I had to start over in life, it had to be by apologizing to her. I looked Annie up online and learned that she had married Owen and moved to California to become a celebrity chef. She owned one of the most popular restaurants in Hollywood. I paid a fortune to rent out the restaurant for an entire night and ordered Annie's most famous dish. After I was done, I made a special request to thank the chef. When Annie came out, I took one look at her and started crying.
Arya? Is that you?
Annie, I know you probably hate me, and you should, but I have to say this. Your friendship was the most valuable thing I had, and I threw it away. Please, please forgive me. I wish I could turn back time, but I can't.
Hey, listen. I'm not holding on to any grudges. Whatever happened is in the past now. I was really angry for a while, but I've moved on. And so should you.
With that, she took me home and made me meet her young daughter. And on that day, I vowed to be better. A better friend, a better person, a better version of me.
Hi, I'm Lucy from the USA. Before we dive into the story, please like and subscribe. I'm just an ordinary high school girl living next door. Pretty, talented, and great at parties. I had everything I could ever wish for. Even my parents were awesome. There was just one thing I truly desired. A boyfriend. I had dated before, but all those guys turned out to be jerks. I even agreed to go out with a nerd once, hoping he'd surprise me. Never making that mistake again. No thank you. Next, I was starting to lose hope of ever finding my Prince Charming. That was until Mike came into my world years later in high school. My eyes were instantly hooked onto him. The looks, the smile, and the muscles showing under his shirt. I just had to have him, so I asked him out. Something I would never do normally, but it all worked out, because he said yes. It didn't take long for us to finally have our first dinner date. It was amazing. He was such a gentleman and knew just the right things to say. I knew the moment he took my hand that he was the one, but I couldn't shake the feeling of déjà vu, like I'd met Mike before. Oh well, I'm sure it's nothing. For the next few months, we went on many different dates, traveling all over the city, eating wonderful foods, and studying together at night. Everything was perfect. We had finally found a good boyfriend, and he was a keeper. But of course, something just had to happen to ruin it. Mike had planned a date at a fancy new restaurant downtown. I was so excited. I actually got ready early this time and speed walked to the restaurant with a spring in my step. But when I finally got there, my heart fell to the floor and shattered. Sitting next to my boyfriend was another girl with her arm around his shoulder. I didn't care if he looked a bit uncomfortable. I wasn't taking this betrayal lying down, so I burst through the doors and marched straight up to the duo's seat. Who is this?
Lucy, you're early.
Answer the question, Mike. How could you cheat on me?
Wait, I didn't cheat.
Who is this then?
Hello, you must be Lucy. I've been looking forward to meeting you. I'm Mike's big sister. The name's Vecta.
The girl's cheeky smirk nearly made me get physical, but her last words registered just in time. Sister?
Yep. I wanted to see who claimed my brother's heart and changed him so much. You see, I'm very interested because Mike and I are very close.
That's funny because he never mentioned you.
I thought I'd introduce you when the time was right. But since Vecta's here, I guess there's no time like the present.
Well, nice to meet you, but we are supposed to be on a date. I don't want to be mean or anything, but...
She's right, Vecta. You should go home. I'll be back soon.
Oh, she didn't like that. She looked at us both and instead of leaving, got comfortable.
Nah, you two just act like I'm not even here. You won't even notice me. Besides, I'm starving.
Fine.
Fine. It wasn't fine with me. But she was a sister, and it was just one evening. How hard would it be to get through? It turns out, really hard. She kept interrupting nonstop. Oh, Mike, I have this really funny story to tell you.
Ha ha! That's hilarious. Oh, stop it, Lucy. I think I just peed a little.
I didn't even tell it yet.
But I know it's really funny. You just said so yourself. Which reminds me, Mike, I've got a joke that'll make you poop. So a duck and a chicken walk into a bar.
She kept picking up food from Mike's plate and fussing over him.
Why would you order this dish? You hate olives and broccoli? Here, I'll take those. Also, you've got sauce on your face. There, I got it. Do you need to blow your nose, Mikey?
And when she wasn't acting like his freaking mother, she kept staring daggers at me. I tried to act like I wasn't bothered at all and leaned over to feed Mike some of my pasta. But seconds later, he started coughing and turning blue.
Oh my God, you poisoned him!
What? Of course I didn't. Mike, are you okay? Say something.
He can't, you moron. His tongue is swollen. What is in that pasta? Blueberries, kiwis, dandelion tea, rose hip oil, Diet Coke.
No.
Honey, oysters, anchovies.
Yes, it has anchovies.
Don't you know anything about him at all?
And with that, she quickly reached into her bag, pulled out an EpiPen, and stabbed him with it in the thigh. He gasped and coughed some more, but he could finally breathe.
What would you do without me, bro?
The date ended after that, thankfully. And as I went home, I hoped it was the last I'd ever see of her. But for the next 2 months, it was the same. No matter where we went and what we did, Vecta was there to ruin it. Mike just couldn't seem to shake her off and would let her stay. And she kept making it obvious that she disapproved of me greatly. I'd catch her staring at me with disdain, like I wasn't worthy of him or something. It didn't feel like the frustrations of some jealous ex, thank God. But it was something serious enough to squeeze herself in on our dates and annoy me while wearing the most outlandish cosplay outfits and hairstyles. So childish, it was even affecting Mike. He had been looking more downcast lately. What?
Look, she's my sister and I have been neglecting her recently.
But what about our date today?
She would just crash it as usual. I promise we'll hang out this weekend. Just the two of us.
He kissed me on the cheek and then left me devastated and confused. That night in bed, I stayed up pounding my pillow imagining it was Vecta's face. I wanted her private time back, but as much as I wanted to slap her, violence wasn't the solution. Instead, I needed to know what Vecta's problem was. There must be a reason for why she was acting the way she was. Luckily, a puzzle piece fell into place during the weekend. As promised, I was hanging out with Mike at his place. We were watching a cheesy romance movie while snuggling on the couch. Right on time, Vecta came out of nowhere and inserted herself into our lives again. No, literally. She came and sat between us on the couch holding a dead potted plant.
You let the plant die? The plant that symbolizes our bond as brother and sister.
I've never even seen that plant before. Vecta, what do you want?
A plant that's alive. But I guess that ship has sailed. Do you know what next week is? Michael?
Michael? Now why did that name sound so familiar? Before I could remember anything, Mike let out a loud sigh.
I told you not to call me by that name.
Whatever. Now guess before I call you by your real name again.
That's your real name?
Used to be anyway. I don't know what's happening next week, Vecta. Can you just leave us alone today?
A part of me was jumping for joy at the way Mike snapped at her, but another part noticed how hurt Vecta looked. I gave in to my more merciful half. What's happening next week, Vecta?
It's the annual LARPing Capture, the flag event for our city.
LARPing? Like the thing nerds do outside? Playing pretend?
Yeah. Figures you would say that. Are you attending it with me, Michael? You can even bring your girlfriend.
Why would I do that? That's for losers.
Then Lucy should fit right in.
That was it. What is your problem? You.
Sis.
No, everything was fine before she showed up in your life.
I could say the same for you.
Stop it, you two.
No, not if we want this to stop for good. Vecta, I have a proposal.
Interesting. Shoot!
We'll join your stupid game. Do we play in teams?
Oh, I see where you're going with this. Yeah, we do. I'll be on the team opposing yours.
If my team wins, you'll stop interfering in our relationship.
And if mine wins, you'll break up with Michael.
That is not your choice to make, Vecta.
What? Scared she'll lose? Get bored of you in the game? Walking away from both?
What? I wouldn't do that. I love Michael, and I'll prove it by beating you. Deal?
Deal.
We shook hands, and I suddenly realized I just made a deal with the devil. All because I let my emotions get the better of me. I don't even know how to LARP. But there was no backing down now. My relationship was on the line.
Before this is over, I'm going to remind my brother of who he really is, all while kicking you to the curb where you belong. Good luck. You're gonna need it.
Vecta left, and I slumped down on the couch. What did I just sign myself up for? Mike sighed before looking at me with determination.
If we're going to do this, then I'll have to train you.
You know how to LARP?
Of course not. I just picked up some things from my sister.
If you say so. Where do we start?
Conditioning.
Say what? Mike was not joking. I was put through actual exercises and drills like I was preparing for the army. I was seconds away from giving up, but I refused to lose to Vecta. So I pushed on. And you know what? I'm glad I kept at it. Sure, the conditioning was terrible, but once I was actually playing the game, it felt like I was in another world. It was magical and so different from anything I was used to. But what really made it all worth it was Mike. He was really enjoying himself. That and his immense knowledge on LARPing made it clear he had played before, although he refused to admit it. I hadn't seen him smile like this since, ever. Really. And if he was happy, I was happy. Eventually the weekend came, and it was finally time for the event. And when we arrived at the venue, oh my God, there were at least 200 people here. They had even built small buildings and tents, and the large space with a nice forest surrounding us made it even more picturesque. Before I could really appreciate the beauty, Veta came running up to Mike.
Michael, you really came.
Of course, we both did.
Hello.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about you. Are you sure she won't slow you down? I'd hate for you to lose because of a handicap.
Hey!
No worries. She's a natural. She even started to like it.
She did?
Yep, this isn't so bad.
I'm sure she's just faking it. I'll prove it by winning this thing.
Before Mike could say anything, Vecta fled into the crowd. She really doesn't trust me, huh?
I'm sorry.
No need to apologize. She's just a...
No. She's lonely, okay? Please don't hate her for this. It's my fault anyway.
Before I could dig further, a horn echoed throughout the field. It was almost time. The two teams, red and green, got into position. The two flags were placed in their proper bases. Finally, the next horn signaled the start of the battle. I kept close to Mike. Despite the training, this was still nerve-wracking. It was a struggle at first, but eventually I got used to it and started having fun. I could tell Mike was having a blast, too. Even more so when he noticed I was having fun, too. Eventually, our squad was closing in on the enemy camp. Our leader suggested a pincer attack. Mike was on the other attack squad, which nearly caused me to panic. But a comforting hand on the shoulder later, I calmed down. So we split up and went deeper into the forest. And this is where things got bad. One by one, my squad was picked off by some archer in the woods. It didn't take long for me to be the last one standing. That's when the culprit revealed herself.
I'm surprised you lasted this long.
Vecta, of course. We stared each other down before Vecta drew her foam sword and shield.
Let's make a new deal. The first one to get a hit wins. Same conditions from before apply.
I drew my own sword and shield. Fine.
Good. Prepare for failure.
Wasting no time, Vecta charged at me as if this was a life and death battle, and I responded in kind. I wasn't losing my relationship with Mike. We clashed repeatedly, trading blows on our shields, unable to get a body shot. Shockingly, I was holding my own. Mike had taught me well, touched an attack to my leg, and asked the burning question in my head. What is your problem with me dating Mike? Shouldn't you be happy for him? Now, that really got her mad, and she was lashing out even harder.
You seriously haven't figured it out? Of course not. Why would someone like you remember some poor nerdy boy who bravely asked the popular girl out?
Huh? Suddenly it all fell into place. Mike was Michael, the nerdy boy I had turned down all those years ago.
Michael used to be a big nerd, just like me, and we were always super close. But he decided to abandon who he is to become the kind of guy you'd want. A typical Prince Charming. I barely even recognize him now.
I felt ashamed of how I hadn't even given Michael a chance before I judged him by his appearance. Before I even got to know how sweet and amazing he was. But I knew that now, and I liked everything about him, nerdy side and all. I wasn't so shallow anymore. With renewed determination, I took advantage of Vecta's rash attacks and finally got a hit on her side. And she lost. She was about to break down into tears, but before that could happen, I hugged her. I get why you hate me, Vecta, and I'm sorry for turning him down like that before. Your brother is a great guy and I would never want to change him.
Are you serious?
Just then the horn blew, signaling someone had won. We ran back to the team and the sight brought another smile to our faces. Mike. No. Michael was being carried by his team while holding the green flag. And the smile he wore melted my heart. We won.
My brother is something special, huh?
He sure is.
Hi, my name is Laura and I'm from Texas. Please like and subscribe. I live with my granny, and she's pretty much the only person I'm close with on this planet. After my parents passed away, she took me in and brought me up. However, growing up, I didn't have many companions. I was always dedicated to my academics, and that's how I managed to secure a scholarship at one of the top schools in the city. But events took an unexpected twist in the 10th grade. It all began when I chose to ride my bike to school one day. Just as I was about to park it, I stumbled over something. My bike then collided with a nearby car. Shoot! The car looked really expensive, and now it had a dent the size of an elephant. I was the queen of broke people. I'd never be able to pay for the damage. I had to get out of here. But just then, two evil-looking shadows showed up behind me, and one of them caught me.
Look at that! She ruined your car and now she's running from the crime scene.
Holy Jesus, not the terrible two! John and Arthur were the two richest and hottest kids in school. However, everyone was afraid of them because they were notorious bullies. And now I had crashed into their car. This was the worst day ever. I wasn't running, and I didn't ruin it on purpose, I just accidentally.
Oh, Kitty. Accidentally or not, you're gonna have to pay for this.
Listen, man, I can't pay for it. You want my bicycle? You can have that.
You're making jokes now? You better arrange the money or else.
Oh God, what was I gonna do about these bullies? And then I recalled seeing them harassing a kid really badly after school recently, so I just blurted out, I know your secret, and I'm gonna tell it to the principal.
What secret?
I know what you guys did last Monday! For a moment, they looked shocked, but then John screamed.
What? How? How do you know that?
Judging from their freaked out faces, I could tell it was something significant, and they believed I knew about it. This was perfect. Well, I'm not going to tell you here. I'll tell you in front of the principal. Let's go now.
No, wait, we can talk this out.
Yeah, and you don't need to pay for anything here. Let me check. If your bike's broken, I'll buy you a new one. As many as you want. We'll do anything you say. We'll be your errand boys. But please, just don't tell anyone.
What in the father freaking world? The two most powerful senior guys in school were totally at my mercy. And I didn't even know why, but I pretended to keep it cool because I didn't want them to know I was bluffing. Sure. Then how about you start with carrying my bag? It's so heavy. My hand hurts. As I went around school that day with these two acting like my personal bodyguards, kids were looking at me like I was a magician who had the terrible two wrapped around my finger. The next day, as I stepped out of my house, John was already waiting for me in his brand new car. This was just getting better.
Hey, I'm here to pick you up. So tell me, do you want to go to the beach today or the movies?
What? No, I want to go to school and attend my classes. I have to submit my assignments next week.
Oh, come on, Laura! You should enjoy yourself and not study so hard. Arthur can do your assignments. He does mine all the time. No big deal.
That sounded good. But I wasn't sure if I trusted them enough to hang out with them outside school. What if they planned to kidnap me because of whatever their stupid secret was? So I insisted on going to school. When we reached there, they kept following me around. At first, it felt like I was some princess. But as the day went by, I realized this was a big problem. I had ballet practice after lunch, and just as I entered the girls' changing room, all the girls started screaming. When I turned around, I was stunned to see those two morons had followed me in. Have you both lost it? This is the girls' changing room.
All the more reason for us to be here, right, Arthur?
I pushed them out and locked the door from inside. But when I went to the dancing room, they were already there, dressed in ballerinas' clothes and dancing like toads. What the freaking crabs? What are you guys doing? You don't have to follow me everywhere.
Yes, we do. We can't risk it. What if you go and tell the principal behind our back?
I won't do that.
Well, guess what? We don't trust you.
They just wouldn't leave. And when it was my time to perform, they both started cheering and hooting like they were my craziest fans.
What could be the big secret that was making them do all these things to keep me from going to the principal? But as much as I wanted to know, I wanted to get rid of them too. The next day, I left home before they could get here. And even at school, I was on my toes watching out for them. Then during lunchtime, this football jock at school who I had a huge crush on came and sat next to me.
You're the popular girl who tamed those rich brats. And I'm impressed. I like strong and dominating girls. Like you. How about we go, ow!
Arthur picked him up by the collar and threw him out of the seat.
How about I give you a taste of strong and dominating guys?
Arthur, stop! What are you doing? As soon as Arthur let him go, he just ran away. Ugh, why did you do that? He was gonna ask me out?
He asks everyone out. He's a jerk.
Oh, have you looked in the mirror lately? You're the bigger jerk here. With that, I pushed him aside and stormed out of there angrily. Later that day, I was in the library when I saw that football jock kissing some girl behind a bookshelf. Arthur was right. He really was a jerk. I picked up a book and tossed it right at his head.
Ouch!
Well, he deserved it. After that, I went back to solving my math assignment, but I was getting none of the answers correct.
Easy there, Tigress. Let me help you with those.
Help me? Do you even know the— Whoa, how did you do that? I was stunned that this guy, who looked like he probably bought his grades with his dad's money, was actually good at studying. He helped me with my assignments, and honestly, I was starting to feel that he wasn't so bad after all. Just as I was about to apologize for calling him a jerk earlier, John barged into the library.
Thanks for keeping an eye on her while I was away.
Of course. Arthur was just here to babysit me. I felt so dumb thinking he might be nice 2 seconds ago.
So, who's ready to go and watch the new Spider-Man movie?
OMG! I'd been waiting for this movie for months. I screamed so loud with excitement that the librarian kicked us all out. Later that evening, when we stepped out of the movies, it was pretty chilly. Suddenly, Arthur took off his jacket and wrapped it around me. Such a good actor he was. I knew if it wasn't for their secret, he wouldn't care even if I was screaming for help. Soon after, he ran ahead to get the car, and that's when John took my hand and suddenly pulled me close. Whoa, what are you doing?
Aw, come on. I can clearly see you're interested in me. That's why you're playing the blackmail game to keep me close.
What? In your dreams?
That attitude of yours, it's just got me going crazy for you, babe. How about you give me a kiss, now?
This jerk. I was about to push him really hard when suddenly Arthur pulled him away and punched him hard in the face. John landed on his butt.
How dare you touch her?
What the heck, dude? Did you forget who you are? You're a stinky lowlife rat who lives off my leftovers. And how dare you touch me?
Lowlife rat, what was he talking about?
I know who I am, but don't you dare touch her again. Because if you do, I'll shove those leftovers down your throat.
Whoa! It seemed like Arthur was a whole different person. He took my hand, and then we both left from there. All the way back home, he didn't say a word, and I could feel there was something about him that I didn't know. I was getting more and more curious. When we reached home, I handed him his jacket back, and I just couldn't stop myself. Arthur, why did John say all those things about you? I mean, you're rich too.
No, I'm not, Laura. I know it looks like that because I'm always hanging out with John, but I'm a poor nobody.
I don't really understand.
My dad used to work for John's dad, but he passed away a few years back, and I have a sick mom to take care of. John convinced his dad to take us in, and he helps me with money. But basically, since then, I have to do everything he asks me to do.
Oh boy. My heart sank listening to that, and suddenly I just hugged him tight. Thanks for doing what you did for me today, Arthur, and I'm sorry.
Don't be. He totally deserves it. But I really wish you'd never seen us do it. And then you wouldn't be involved with jerks like us.
Seen what? Suddenly he looked at me with surprise. The secret he was talking about, the big secret? Oh yeah, totally saw that.
Wait a second. You don't know what it is, do you? Now that I think about it, you never really mentioned it, because you don't know what it is.
I panicked. And then you guys assumed I knew your secret.
Laura, how can you even do something like this, knowing how bad John is? If he knows you don't know, he'll— Oh God, I can't believe this.
He stormed off angrily, and now my heart was pumping like crazy for what was going to happen next. The next day, when I reached school, I saw Arthur was still hanging out with John. But his face was full of bruises, like someone had hit him really bad. Of course, it was John. Later, when Arthur was all alone in the boys' washroom, I went in. Why are you letting him treat you this way? I know it's John who beat you up.
What are you doing here? And I told you I owe him. Just stay out of it. I don't want you getting hurt.
But you're willing to get hurt all alone? This is wrong, Arthur. You can't let him ruin your life like this. What he's doing to you and the other kids around school? This has to stop.
Yes, but there's nothing I can do.
You can. You've always been with him. You know everything he does. You can go and tell the principal all about it.
But I was there with him in everything he did. I helped him. If I rat him out, I'll be out of school, and I'll be on the streets with my mom.
Just then, John came out of nowhere and pinned me against the wall.
So you're planning to ruin me, huh? You have no idea who you're messing with, little birdie.
And you have no idea who you're messing with, you ugly crow. I smashed my head hard into his face, and he fell to the floor crying in pain. Arthur grabbed my hand, and we ran out of there.
I'm going to the principal. You're right. I can't be a coward and let him hurt everyone like this. Especially you, Laura. I'll deal with the outcomes later.
I'll be right there with you. We went into the principal's office, and Arthur confessed everything, from John's bullying incidents to the biggest secret of all. After the principal had told John he was going to fail in most of his subjects, John trashed the principal's brand new car. One evening, he smashed the windows and the lights and spray painted all over it, with Arthur's help. The principal immediately called John in and said he was going to be expelled. Since Arthur had confessed everything, he was going to be suspended for a while and made to do volunteer work. And suddenly, John turned to Arthur.
You filthy moron! I fed you and you backstabbed me. You're done too, Arthur. Even if you aren't expelled, you can't stay in this school without me paying your fee. And your mom? Who's gonna pay for her treatments now? It would have been better if you had kept following my orders like a loyal puppy, and now you're doomed.
And that's when John's dad walked in looking horrified.
That's enough. I had no idea I was raising such a brat. How dare you exploit this poor kid? Arthur, don't you worry, son. I'm here for you.
Dad, I'm so sorry.
Not a word. Your principal told me everything on the phone, and the rest I've heard myself. I'm sending you to an army school right away.
John kept begging his dad, but it didn't seem like it was going to work in his favor. When Arthur and I walked out of the room, I turned to him and said, "How do you feel?"
Never been better. Thanks to you, Laura, I was able to be brave.
I'm just so happy things will be better for you. So now that there's no secret, are you still going to be nice to me?
Yeah, I'll carry your bag every day.
And then he pulled me in for a kiss. Hi, my name is Serafina. Before we jump into today's story, please like and subscribe to Luna Avatar. My first memory of Mom is her voice singing lullabies to me every night. It was the most beautiful sound in the world. Mainly because the moment she stopped, I'd start screaming again. By the time I was 16 months old, I could hum every lullaby perfectly. My dad, a piano genius, taught me beautiful notes and how to put them together, and I was totally obsessed with it. On Dad's 30th birthday, there was a grand celebration at our mansion. Right after everyone started toasting, I climbed up on a table and began singing the birthday song. Suddenly, the whole room went silent, ready to take in my first performance.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
When I finished, I realized my voice could make a grown man cry.
Oh my God, that's exactly the voice of an angel.
I always had a feeling Serafina was gifted. I'm so proud of you, darling.
Right after that, my parents hired the best musicians in the city to coach me in vocals and music theory. At every party my parents and their friends hosted, they'd invite me to perform, and they even paid me for it. My life was perfect. Until one day, everything changed. When I was in the 2nd grade, my dad had just returned from meeting with some partners overseas. I froze when I saw a little girl with sad eyes, holding a stuffed bunny, step out of the car too. She was trying to hide behind Dad, but he gently pushed her forward.
This is Annabelle, Serafina. She's your sister, and she'll be living with our family now. Will you take care of her?
I looked into her scared, dark eyes and immediately took her hand. Always! But from the moment Annabelle showed up, a dark shadow, like the dress she wore, was cast over our happy home. It started with a huge fight between my parents that evening, and both of us overheard it.
You've broken my heart. She reminds me of my worst nightmare, and I have to see it every day. She can't stay here. I won't raise a child that isn't mine.
She has nowhere to go. Her mother's gone. I know you hate me right now, but please don't take it out on her. She's just a kid.
I didn't want Annabelle to hear this, so I said, "Come on, I'll play something for you. What's your favorite song?" I didn't fully understand what was happening, but one thing was clear. Mom hated Annabelle. She ignored her like there wasn't any child in the house besides me. But my dad and I were different. We adored her. Maybe it was because I could see the sadness and loneliness in my sister's eyes. And we more than made up for Mom's ice-cold attitude. But in the 8th grade, We got news one day that made our whole world come crashing down. Dad had been in a terrible car accident, and he was gone. We were all devastated, but Mom just shut herself up in her room for weeks. One night, while I was reading a Snow White story to Annabelle, Mom suddenly burst into the room and started yelling.
What are you doing in my daughter's room? You're just a poor maid.
Mom, are you okay? She's not a maid, this is Annabelle, remember?
Yes, Annabelle. How could I forget her? Everything got worse when she showed up. No, everything is exactly her fault.
I stared in horror at Mom as Annabelle started to cry.
Pack your things first thing in the morning, Annabelle. Are you planning to sleep with this filthy maid tonight?
What? No, she's not going anywhere. Dad said she's my sister.
Either she goes to the maids or the orphanage. This is her last night here.
As Mom was leaving, she suddenly pounced at Isabel, grabbed her stuffed bunny, and threw it in the fire.
No, my mom made that!
Annabelle cried for hours and I hugged her to sleep. What had happened to my mom? The very next day, Annabelle had to move to the maids' quarters despite my strong protests. She was still allowed to go to school, but she had to do house chores in her free time. I was scared she'd be sent away, so I stopped fighting with Mom, but I'd sneak food to her and help her with her homework at night. At school, we could always hang out together. But one day, I started trembling when I saw my mom show up at school, heading straight to the principal's office. Oh my God! Maybe my worst fear was about to come true. Mom, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm here to withdraw Annabelle from school, of course.
You can't do that! She has to go to school!
Why? She's never going to be anything but a maid like her stupid mother. Education is a complete waste on someone whose future is just sweeping floors and cleaning rooms.
As she turned around, I grabbed Mom's wrist. If you make her drop out of school, I will too, and I'll tell everyone why. Are you sure you want everyone to know how you really treat Annabelle? Mom, Dad would be so disappointed in you. Mom looked shocked, then angrily pulled her arm away and left I'd won this little battle. But God knows what she'd do next. Things weren't great at home, but at least I had Eric. He was my boyfriend for 2 years and was just crazy about my voice one evening when I was on a date with him. I suddenly started getting calls from Annabelle.
Come home right now, Serafina!
I ran home to a scene of complete chaos. Mom was tearing apart Annabelle's room. What's going on?
Your dad's watch is missing, and I'm going to search all the maids' rooms, and when I find it, I'm kicking out the thief for good.
Just then, a servant came from another room saying it was under Mom's personal maid's bed. Mom looked completely shocked to find out it was her, but she threw her bags out instantly. Some days later, it was Annabelle's 13th birthday, and I snuck into her room with a cake when she blew the candles out. I asked her what she'd wished for.
I wished your mom was dead!
Annabelle, you don't mean that? She's my mom. Annabelle stayed silent, and I got up to leave. I'd never seen that look of hatred on my little sister's face before. In the middle of all this drama, I had a huge audition coming up. A prestigious music academy was looking for talent from different schools, and being selected would be a dream. But 5 days before the audition, I woke up with my throat hurting. I called out to the maid, but to my horror, my voice was gone. Mom rushed me to the doctor who diagnosed me with laryngitis. What he said next left me shocked.
Your voice will return to normal soon, but this is the end of your singing. If you strain your vocal cords too much, you could lose your voice permanently.
I just couldn't believe it. On the day of the auditions, I slipped into the auditorium with Eric, feeling devastated. I wanted to be up on that stage more than anything. And then one of the judges said,
"The last performer is Miss Annabelle."
Wait, what? Annabelle stepped onto the stage and started singing.
Don't know what you wanna achieve, but make a
I was stunned. Her voice was beautiful. The judges gave her a standing ovation and said they'd be in touch with her. Soon as everyone started to leave, I caught up with her. Annabelle, that was amazing. But why didn't you tell me you could ever sing like that? She brushed my arm off angrily, her eyes blazing.
You never asked! You just assumed that you're the only one with any talent. But I guess that's something we both got from our father. It makes you unhappy, doesn't it?
Why would you say that? I've always had your back, Annabelle.
Yet I've been living as a maid in my dad's house for years, and you did nothing! You think sneaking me food makes up for how I'm treated? No, it doesn't! All it does is make you feel good about yourself.
Annabelle, I tried.
Oh, nice try. I hate you, Serafina!
As she stormed off, I felt heartbroken. As Eric walked me back home that evening, suddenly, a skateboarder came charging straight at him. I pushed Eric out of the way just in time. but he landed on the pavement, hitting his head. I quickly called an ambulance, and after hours of waiting at the hospital, we were shocked to get the news Eric was in a coma. The doctors were hopeful he'd wake up soon. But weeks turned into months, and before I knew it, a year had passed. I was almost done with high school, and Annabelle was in her music academy on full scholarship, but we never spoke anymore. One day when I went to see Eric, I was shocked to see him sitting up in bed.
Oh my God, you're awake!
He gently pushed me away.
I'm sorry, who are you?
Eric, it's me, Serafina, your girlfriend!
Can you sing?
Yes, well I used to, but then I got sick and had to stop, remember?
No! I just know that my girlfriend sings beautifully. I couldn't move or see all these months, but she'd talk and sing to me often, and I could hear her. I know her voice, and it's not you.
Suddenly my blood ran cold when I heard someone behind me.
Babe, that was me. You could hear me?
Annabelle?
Yes, it's you!
She ran forward and hugged him, and then they kissed. Suddenly I just lost it. I pulled Annabelle by her hair. Are you completely crazy? You've been visiting my boyfriend and singing to him. Tell him you're lying.
I am not. He's mine. Let me go, witch.
And suddenly she pushed me viciously and I went flying into a trolley. I attacked her and we went crashing straight into the machines. And the next thing we knew, we were both thrown out of the hospital. I turned furiously to Annabelle. We're done for good. You become a hateful monster. I don't even know who you are anymore. But you're definitely not my sister.
Finally!
And with that, she left. I went on a very long walk to clear my head. And by the time I got home, Annabelle was gone. The next morning, Mom discovered a lot of things were gone too, including Dad's watch.
Heck! I'm going to report her to the police. I'm going to.
Mom, just stop it. She's gone. That's what you wanted since you first saw her, right? And so what if she took Dad's stuff? It's hers too. Let it freaking go. A year later, I went off to university to study music. If I couldn't sing anymore, I could still play in my final year. I was leaving the campus one day when I stepped on a newspaper. It had Eric and Annabelle's face on the front page with the headline "Billionaire to tie knot in 2 weeks." Well, good for them. But just a few days later, I walked into a coffee shop. And to my shock, I saw Eric there. And he was kissing a blonde girl. That definitely wasn't Annabelle. I just walked away. It wasn't my problem. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. And when her wedding day arrived, I just couldn't not do anything. Even if she hated me. She was my freaking little sister. And that's how I found myself bursting into the church and running like crazy down the aisle. Hold it! This wedding can't happen! As Annabelle turned to look at me in horror, I ran straight at her and hugged her. I held onto her tight as she squirmed and shrieked.
Oh my God, you psycho! Get off me!
I love you, Annabelle! I'm not going anywhere till you listen to me! As Eric looked super mad and everyone stared at us, she dragged me off to a small room.
What do you think you're doing, Serafina?
Annabelle, you can't marry Eric. He's a cheater. I saw him kissing a girl the other day. I swear I'm not lying.
Think I don't know about that? Well, I do, and it doesn't matter. I stole your man, and hell take care of me. At least I got rid of you and your psycho mom, so just buzz off.
Annabelle, listen to me. You're just angry right now. I'm so sorry about everything. Mom was unbelievably cruel to you, and I should have fought harder. You deserved so much better, and you still do. Don't marry this jerk, please.
Why do you care?
Because you're my little sister and I miss you so much. I had 2 things that I loved the most. My voice and you. I lost my voice for good. And I don't want to lose you too. Please forgive me and come with me.
Oh, Serafina, I'm so sorry for all the horrible things I did to you. I thought I wanted to marry Eric too, tease you. But I now realize that everything I've been doing in my life was to not end up alone. I just wanted to belong to someone.
You belong to me. You're my family. I made a promise to Dad to take care of you. And I will, always. And with that, we hugged each other and walked back to our home. Family always comes first.
Hi, I'm Rain from Scotland, and this is my story. Please like and subscribe! When I was little, Mom used to tell me I was a grown-up trapped in a child's body. I was different from my twin sister Luna, a typical sand-eating Jell-O sticky kid. From the moment I started kindergarten, I'd help Mom with everything around the house. Laundry, cooking, taking out the trash.
My sweet Rain, you are what we call an old soul.
But I think I only helped Mom out because I was scared our lives would fall apart if I didn't. My dad lay around the house like a sloth all day, dreaming about becoming a famous actor.
I wasn't born to do petty jobs. I'm here to be a great actor, like Michael Jackson.
Dad, Michael Jackson was a singer!
Dad, when you become rich and famous, will you take me to Disneyland? And can I have my own castle?
My princess? I'll buy you a dozen castles.
Obviously, Luna was Dad's favorite daughter because she'd fall for all his lies. When Luna and I were in 6th grade, our parents got divorced. Dad went to the US to fulfill his acting dream. He took Luna with him while I stayed behind with Mom. Dad hardly kept in touch, and Mom and I missed Luna so much. Mom was also having trouble finding a good job. And then one day I had a brilliant idea. Mom, you make amazing cupcakes and cookies. What if you put up a stall at my school carnival next week? Mom loved the idea. And sure enough, her stall was a huge success. From that day on, Mom set up baking stands at the park. And a few years later, she started her own bakery. But she worked long hours, so I was mostly by myself in the house. When I wasn't doing household chores, I was reading or studying. I was the top of my class at school, but I didn't have many friends. On my 15th birthday, my life took a turn. Dad called us with wild news.
Luna is coming back to live with you guys. I'll send her flight details soon.
With that, he hung up without even wishing me happy birthday. But Mom was overjoyed, and so was I. It turned out Luna had been living the life of a billionaire. Dad had married a wealthy woman who lived in a palace. They were sending Luna to us on a private jet. When Luna arrived, all she could talk about was America.
I'm already missing the US so much. It's like the coolest country on the planet.
Apparently, Luna also had a filthy rich boyfriend. She was wearing tons of gold jewelry that he'd bought her.
His name is Nate, and he's a junior in high school. He's even flying in to see me soon.
If your life is so great in America, why'd you move here?
I needed some change. I thought the fresh country air would be good for my skin.
Fresh country air? We live in Glasgow, Scotland's largest city. When we reached home, Mom asked me to show Luna around. That's when she saw the trophies I'd won over the years.
OMG! I see you're still the same nerdy Rain!
If nerdy means having top grades, then yeah, I guess.
If I managed to get a C, I'd treat myself to a spa day. Studying really messes with my brain.
The next few days, all Luna did was sleep or watch dancing videos on her phone while I went to school and did all the chores. I even did her laundry, but apparently that wasn't enough for her.
Iron them for me, too. They're wrinkled.
They're wrinkled because you tossed your clothes on the floor. I was basically a 15-year-old mom raising a royal brat. When Mom enrolled Luna at my school, she instantly became popular as this cool, bubblegum chewing kid from America. Whenever I was with Luna, an army of students followed us everywhere. One time, some girls even followed us into the bathroom. She has to pee. Do you want to watch her do that too? Just then, Luna came out of the stall totally transformed. She'd knotted her shirt way up her waist, exposing her belly, and her knee-length skirt was now barely reaching her thighs.
Come on, girls! Who wants to take some pictures?
The girls queued up for a selfie with Luna. Then they gave her £1 each. What was that?
These girls wanted a photo of me when I told them that my style is the most popular style for girls in the US at the moment. And since Mom gives us peanuts for allowance, I thought this would be the cool way to make some money.
Mom does the best she can. Why do you have to complain about everything?
Why do you always have to play the perfect child? Don't you get bored?
Actually, I do. Some days I want to be just like you, lazing around the house, sleeping like a log, and acting like a jerk. This made Luna so angry that she spat out her bubblegum and was about to stick it in my hair. But I pushed her, and she went flying into one of the cubicles, landing straight into a toilet bowl. Now this is a throne perfect for a spoiled princess like you. Luna and I pretty much ignored each other after that. She spent all her time hanging out with her friends and going to parties every night. And as usual, I was all alone. But on the last day of school, I walked to Mom's bakery and found Luna sitting outside looking upset. Luna, what's wrong?
I'm a failure. A stupid, dumb failure. I flunked all my classes. I have to repeat the 9th grade.
What do you mean you have to repeat the 9th grade? How could you fail all your classes?
Don't you see I already feel horrible? Stop judging me for once.
I fell silent, and after a moment I reached down and helped her up. It's not the end of the world, Luna. Come on, let's go in and help Mom out a little. Luna and I helped Mom out all day. Luna was sweating and exhausted, but Mom was overjoyed with the work we did. She offered us both summer jobs.
You girls did so well today. And Luna, I think having a job will be good for you.
To my surprise, Luna agreed. It took her weeks to get used to working in the kitchen, but after a while, we started having lots of fun. From that day on, Luna and I spent every minute together. I was having more fun and not working as hard. Luna even invited me to her friends' parties. But a couple weeks later, Luna's boyfriend Nate flew in to visit for a few days. He arrived at our house in a limousine with a white horse trotting behind.
I got you your own horse, babe. We can ride him together.
Oh my god! He's perfect! This is so romantic!
Where are we going to keep a horse? We don't even have a stable. Luna ignored me and just walked into the house with Nate. I also found out Nate was obnoxious and bragged non-stop.
It's tough being the son of a billionaire. All the girls want is a piece of this. Someone's going to write my story one day because I'm just too special to be real.
And worst of all, Luna was totally obsessed with him. She would share a chair with him at breakfast and take selfies of them kissing every 5 seconds. I'd started thinking she wasn't all that bad, but she was back to acting as immature as ever and left me working all alone at the bakery. Then one day as I was heading out, I saw Nate standing in the doorway and smiling. Excuse me, I have a job to go to now.
I bet you look adorable in an apron. How about I go with you, beautiful?
Nate leaned in closer and I shoved him away. Get away from me, you creep.
Just one kiss. Luna doesn't have to know.
Luna doesn't have to know what, babe?
Luna put her arms around Nate, but I pulled her away. Your sleazy boyfriend just tried to kiss me behind your back.
Ha 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 ha, you're funny. Rain, but I know Nate and boring and nerdy isn't his type. Don't be jealous. You'll have a boyfriend soon too.
Yeah, don't be jealous, Rain.
Luna and Nate started to leave, but I grabbed Luna's arm. You're such an idiot. I've been at the bakery by myself for the past few days. You have to help out this afternoon.
Okay, sis, I'm just taking Nate to the spa and then I'll come back.
Yeah, drop your cheating boyfriend off at the spa. Luna ignored me, but did come to the bakery later. I left her alone so I could run to the library and study. But an hour later, I got a call.
Rain, come back quickly. The bakery's on fire.
I felt as if someone had pulled the ground from under my feet. I immediately called a fire brigade and rushed back. How did this happen?
I don't know. I was baking cupcakes, but the batter overflowed and first the oven caught fire. And then...
Luna, how stupid can you be?
It was an accident. I'm sorry.
Just then, Mom arrived on the scene too. The fire brigade managed to put out the fire, but by then, everything was lost. No one had dinner that night. Mom's eyes were puffy from crying. But neither Luna nor Nate said a word. It's okay, Mom. We'll build everything again.
But it will take months. How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to send you girls to school?
I hugged Mom and stayed with her the whole night while Luna shut herself up in her room with Nate. Nate was leaving the next afternoon. Before his flight, Luna blindfolded him and led him to our back alley.
Ta-da! I bought you a car, babe!
Are you serious? How'd you get me a car?
My dad sends me a huge allowance. I spent all of mine on this car for you.
Are you kidding me? That money could have helped pay off damages to Mom's bakery that you burnt down.
I ordered the car a month ago and Rain, the bakery fire was an accident. I already feel horrible about it, but you keep making me feel worse.
I don't think you feel bad at all. You never even apologized to Mom while you were living your perfect fancy life with Dad. It was really hard for Mom to start her business from scratch, and I always had to be an adult, and you'll always be a spoiled brat who wrecks everything. I spent the next 13 hours studying like crazy, and when I wasn't studying, I tidied my room. I had to get my mind off Luna, and I had to stop worrying about Mom. Finally, at night, Mom came into my room.
Sweetie, take a break and relax.
How can I relax? We lost the family business in a fire because Luna's an irresponsible lunatic.
It's not that simple, Rain.
What do you mean?
Honey, Luna got diagnosed with bipolar disorder last month. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to worry you. People who are bipolar do crazy things sometimes. Then they get really tired and sometimes even sad. It's why Luna sleeps so much and has trouble doing schoolwork.
What? Why would you guys hide that from me?
It was her decision. And honey, trust me, Luna feels terrible about the bakery. Go easy on her, okay?
That night, I couldn't sleep. Why hadn't Luna told me about her condition? Was I a bad person for getting mad at her? The next day, Luna knocked on my door while I was studying.
Mom said she told you about my diagnosis. I'm sorry I kept it a secret from you. I was just so ashamed.
But why, Luna? I'm your sister.
Yeah, my perfect sister who never makes mistakes or fails at anything. I came back to you guys because Dad and his wife couldn't handle having me around. You don't know what it's like to be a disaster like me.
I ran over to hug Luna. I had no idea she'd been suffering, and I'd been so tough on her.
Oh, also about Nate. I'm taking back the car from him and giving the money to Mom. I'm so sorry I didn't believe you. I caught him texting with some other girl too.
He's a jerk!
What's up? I'm Garrett, and my parents adopted me from a poor farm in Sri Lanka, and now living a millionaire life because of my politician parents. Honestly, living rich isn't my thing, but keep that between us. I appreciate everything my parents have done for me, yet I've noticed that wealthy folks tend to boss others around over the most ridiculous stuff.
I asked for a gold-plated toilet seat, not this regular one. What are you, stupid?
Mom, who cares? It's just a toilet seat. No one's going to rate our bathroom on the luxury loo leaderboard. I ended up spending all my free time strumming on my guitar with my best friend in the entire world, John.
Time for the next gig. You in?
Met John during a tryout for a local band, and we've been tight ever since. We made it into the band and began performing at local charity events. It was amazing to see how happy we could make people. One day, while we were playing at a soup kitchen, I noticed a disturbance. A bully was harassing one of the most beautiful girls I'd ever seen.
I found twigs in the soup you made. I want my money back.
It's free, and I saw you put those in there.
I was about to step in when the girl poured soup all over the bully's head. Security came and threw her out. I quickly ran outside to let her know how awesome that was. But she had already disappeared. But when I got back to John's, he had the biggest smirk on his face.
Do you remember that cute girl who souped that bully?
Duh!
Well, her name's Sunny, and I asked her out, so she's kind of my girlfriend now.
I felt like a giant rock had been stuck in my throat. But you guys, what was I supposed to do? There's a bro code. That's awesome, John. But as they started dating, I started to see less and less of John. And whenever we did hang out, all he would ever talk about was Sunny.
You know, Sunny supports her entire family. She has like 17 jobs.
Wow, the next day my parents had a huge surprise in store for me. A pretty girl was spinning around in my kitchen, batting her eyelashes in slow motion. Honestly, it was a little ridiculous.
Hello, I'm Olivia.
I'm Garrett, and why are you here?
Well, son, it's your 18th birthday and your present is Olivia. She's gonna be your wife.
What?
Did you really think we'd leave your matchmaking up to fate?
But your mother and I were in an arranged marriage. Look how happy we are.
I was definitely not convinced.
Olivia's living with us until the wedding. You'll have plenty of time to get to know her.
I tried it first for my parents' sake, but everything about Olivia rubbed me the wrong way. Every time she opened her mouth, I felt like some brain cells had died. One time we traveled to the village where I was born.
Ew, I could never be that poor. How sad and pathetic.
That really made me want to slap on her stupid face. Garrett, remember, you're a gentleman! I needed out of this. A life with Olivia would be a life tied to the very type of person I hated most, so I decided to run away. As I was climbing out of my window, John pulled up to my house. How could I forget? We were supposed to practice together.
Bro, what are you doing?
My parents want me to marry this total snozberry. I'm running away.
What? Garrett, you can't give your life up.
I don't have any other choice. I couldn't bring myself to say no to my parents or break their hearts, so it's either run away or marry her. Besides, it's not like I have any other romantic leads. But then John looked at me with this sparkle in his eye.
What if? You hired a fake fiancé and told your parents you're already getting married?
I burst out laughing. Yeah, right. Would anyone actually be interested? I mean, it's a little pathetic.
Sunny could do it.
You mean your girlfriend?
Yeah, she's desperate for money. Let me ask.
And then he started texting her. Wait, John, isn't that weird? She's your girlfriend.
She said she's in, and who cares? Dude, it's just pretending. Besides, I trust you more than anyone.
I mean, it's not like I really had any other options. Luckily, my parents went on a business trip, so at least that bought me some time. The next day, I met up with Sunny and got up to pull her chair out, but she kicked it back in.
One thing straight, this is just a job.
Geez, I was just trying to be polite.
I love John.
So do I. But don't you feel weird that he's passing you off to me like you're some loaner car?
I would advise you to shut your face hole before I shut it for you.
Well, you better get an attitude transplant if you're going to be a convincing fiancé, otherwise this won't work. She looked at me with this mischievous smirk.
You don't have to question my believability. Trust me.
The next day, I invited Sunny to my school's potluck. I went to the bathroom for 2 seconds, and when I came back, I saw Sunny had entered the green chili eating contest. As Sunny shoveled chilies down her throat, she glared at me with cold hatred. And then, to my shock, she told everyone.
My fiancé holds the green chili eating world record.
Before I knew it, tears were streaming from our eyes as we ate chili after chili. Remind me to bathe in milk later. After Sunny won, I dragged her away from everyone. What are you doing?
Just having some fun with my fiancé.
I'm going to be in the bathroom for a week straight now because of you. But if that's what you want, I'll give it to you and eat until you're happy.
No, stop.
Suddenly, Olivia appeared out of nowhere.
Wow. Garrett, that is pretty impressive. My parents love spicy food. They're going to be so happy when they find out you can handle it.
And then she kissed me on the cheek and ran off. I wanted to flip a table.
What was that about?
You need to start playing by my rules, Sonny, or you can kiss your money goodbye.
I do one thing you don't like, and this is how you act. You're exactly who I thought you were. You're a rich, arrogant jerk.
I walked outside to blow off steam, literally. But I realized I got why she thought I was that way. I mean, rich people, they're the worst. I had to show her that I wasn't like that. I went back inside, but Sonny was nowhere to be found. I started to get worried, so I called John.
Did you seriously lose my girlfriend? Dude, I'm on my way.
Then I heard someone crying in the girls' bathroom. I took a chance. Sonny, it's Garrett. I wanted to apologize. She unlocked the door, but when she opened it, I was shocked to see Sonny was covered in Jell-O. What happened?
That girl who kissed you on the cheek threw a whole Jell-O cake in my face.
Olivia. So maybe she was starting to get the message. I was almost a little excited when...
I look like a sea monster.
Here, let me help. I washed Sonny's hair in the sink and gave her my sweatshirt so she'd have clean clothes.
Why are you being so nice to me?
Because this is all my fault. Olivia attacked you because of me, and then I told her everything about the arranged marriage and Olivia. I'm sorry, Sonny, for all of this. This was stupid.
No, it's not. I was wrong about you. Just give me one more chance. I'll be the perfect fake fiancé.
And then she hugged me so tight that my heart started beating fast. But just then, the door swung open and...
What do you think you're doing?
No, and John, it's not what it looks like.
Wait in the car, Sonny!
John!
Now!
I didn't like the way he was talking to her. He was acting so controlling. John came for me, his nostrils literally flaring.
What gives, man? She's still my girlfriend.
Woo, dude, relax. This was your idea. Sonny and I are just...
Stop! Man, I see the way you look at her.
What? No, the bro code. I would never.
Whatever. Just finish this up as soon as possible.
I can't believe he was really gonna let a girl get between us after all we'd been through. The next day, I woke up and was surprised to see Sonny sitting at the edge of my bed.
I have a surprise for you.
Then she put a blindfold around me and put me in the driver's seat. I had no idea what was going on, but I've always been a sucker for surprises. And the next thing I knew, we were in the mountains. We climbed the whole thing. But what shocked me is that the longer we hiked, the more I actually started to love it. For the first time, I could drop everything and I could just be me. We took a picture together at the top, and Sonny put her arms around me. I blushed so hard. Maybe John was right. Maybe I was starting to catch feelings for Sonny, and it was magical.
Doesn't this feel like a scene from a movie, Garrett?
Yeah, of course. And when I got home that night, Olivia waiting for me.
You better be free tomorrow night.
Hello to you too.
My parents are coming for dinner to meet you. Our wedding's happening. Garrett, can you believe it?
I called Sonny immediately.
Why don't I just come to the dinner and they can see for themselves that you're taken?
Gosh, women are smart. If anything had a shot, it was that the next day, Sonny arrived at my house. She looked incredible. You look beautiful, lol.
Thanks. Too bad tonight's our last night doing this. It's actually been fun.
But before I could confess my true feelings, John stepped out from behind her.
I thought you might need a little chaperoning to make sure you don't fail miserably, Garrett.
Thanks for the vote of confidence. When we got inside, Olivia and her parents were already there. It was now or never.
I said for just you to come.
Olivia, this is my best man, John. This is Sonny, my fiancé. I wished I could bottle the look of disgust on Olivia's face for the rest of eternity. I was waiting for her to explode, but she simply said,
Okay, then prove it. Kiss her?
What?
If she's really your fiancé, it shouldn't be hard.
I looked at John, who was fuming, but I had no other choice. Sonny gave me a nod of approval. I leaned in and kissed her, and the world seemed to stop.
Crash!
We broke the kiss and swirled around to see that John had just smashed a vase and stormed off. John, wait!
What happened to the bro code?
What was I supposed to do? You're the one who told me to do this.
I knew you were lying.
Kevin and I both turned to see that Olivia, her parents, and Sonny had followed us and overheard everything.
Nice try, Garrett, but I knew you'd never date low-life trash like Sonny. You're marrying me whether you like it or not.
Can you really blame him for wanting to leave? You've got the ugliest personality ever.
This was getting out of hand. They were literally pulling each other's hair, so I stepped in the middle of them. Girls, Sonny, stop! And she felt bad the way I screamed, so she dashed away. Things couldn't end like this between us, though. Her family was struggling, and I had to do what was right. So I followed her. Sonny, wait! Take this. I wrote her a check for $3 million.
Garrett, you shouldn't have to do this, any of this. Just be honest with your parents about Olivia. Maybe they'll understand.
She was right, but I was still afraid of disappointing my folks. Just take the money now, you can take care of your family.
What?
But she just stared at me blankly. That's why you took the job?
No, I took the job for John. I agreed to do it, and I give the money to his sick mom.
What? But John's mom isn't sick. Last week she ran the marathon. Just then we saw John with Olivia. He even had his arm around her. John, you lied to us. All this time you wanted my money for yourself. John turned around with an evil look in his eyes.
You don't even do anything with it. I deserve to have a little. Come on, Sonny, let's go.
I'm not going anywhere with you. You lied to me too. We're over.
Are you happy now? Garrett, you've ruined my life.
Don't be so dramatic. John,
consider our friendship over.
And then he went away. He was never a true friend to begin with if he was only after my money. Sonny called a cab, but there was really nothing to say. Except, I'm sorry for how this all turned out.
Me too.
I wanted to kiss her so badly, but before I even got the chance, Olivia had a tentacle around me. I guess that was that. My parents came back, and I went along with wedding planning. I felt like a total ghost. I droned out Olivia's non-stop, talking with thoughts of Sonny. I should have told her how I felt. I even texted her on the day of the wedding, telling her that it was happening, maybe in hopes she'd want to pull a big romantic gesture. But when the time came and Olivia was walking down the aisle, Sonny was nowhere to be found. The priest started officiating when I heard a familiar voice call out,
"Stop the wedding!"
Everyone turned and gasped. To my shock, it was John. John, what are you doing here?
Olivia, I love you. Let's run away from here. You want me to confess it in front of the whole world? So here I am.
What? But then Olivia ran over to John and started kissing him. I guess there was a lot more to that casual arm around her that night at dinner.
The wedding's off!
As they ran away together, I couldn't help but laugh. And then I was in for the shock of the century when my parents came up to me.
Son, I'm sorry we forced this upon you.
We never should have, we were wrong. Olivia is clearly not good enough for you. We made a mistake with her and just want you to be happy from now on. We've agreed. You choose who you love.
And they hugged me tightly and went to the guests. What just happened?
It looks like someone just got there. Happily ever after.
I turned around, shocked to see the priest removed his beard and hat. It was Sonny.
You seriously thought I'd miss watching this train wreck?
Sonny, I'm so sorry. Look, I know this sounds crazy, but although we were just pretending, I actually fell in love with you.
I know, silly. Why else do you think I'm here? I feel the same way.
How did I have no idea that was you?
I told you not to doubt my believability.
I laughed and grabbed her in my arms. What do you say? Should we make this a happy ending?
I thought you'd never ask.